Hello and welcome to a special edition of SUTV News. I'm Garrett Graybill.
And I'm Rebecca Pryor.
In this edition of SUTV News, we'll take a look at the cancer risks associated with tobacco use.
We will also explore the effects smoking has on pregnant women.
There are many different types of ways tobacco is used, whether it's through a cigarette or even smokeless. Hayden Kephart has more.
There are close to 7,000 chemicals found in cigarettes. The most common chemical? Nicotine. Ashley Schlieg, a community manager at the American Cancer Society, raised funds for people with cancer.
Everyone's heard tobacco use and cancer have correlation together. In 1982, the United States Surgeon General reports say that cigarette smoking is the major single cause of cancer mortality in the United States. And that statement is still as true today as it was back then. Tobacco use is responsible for nearly 1 in 5 deaths each year in the United States. And not only does tobacco use affect its users, but it also affects the non-smokers around them.
With that in mind, one's peers, family, and even pets can all suffer from secondhand smoke.
Different with each forms of tobacco, whether it's cigarettes, cigars, or chewed tobacco, each has its own kind of section of cancers, but some big ones are oral cancer. Lung cancer is huge that you hear about, esophagus, the pancreas, uterine and cervix cancer, kidney cancer, bladder cancer, colon, liver, and there's even some possible connections between breast cancer in addition to so many others.
As you walk around campus, it can sometimes be very easy to pick out a smoker, and sometimes may be hard to avoid secondhand smoke.
Each year, secondhand smoke causes about 7,333 lung cancer deaths in a non-smoking adult, so that's huge for those who don't even smoke. And because cigarette smoking and tobacco use are acquired behaviors, we consider smoking as the most preventable cause of death in our society.
Putting out that last cigarette can make a huge difference. Hayden Kephart, SUTV News.
With tobacco taxes increasing, we may start to see a decrease in tobacco use around Pennsylvania. Every year, tobacco companies spend billions of dollars on advertising and promotion, and tobacco use costs the United States billions of dollars in medical expenses and lost productivity. Cigarette advertising and promotional expenses totaled approximately $8.95 billion in 2013, down from $9.7 million during 2012. In 2013, about 85% of the $7 billion was spent on price discounts paid to cigarette retailers or wholesalers to reduce the cost of cigarettes to consumers. Manufacturers spent a total of $503 million on smokeless tobacco advertising and promotion during 2013, up from $435 million in 2012. A number of electronic products such as cigarettes, electronic cigars, and electronic pipes are being introduced in the marketplace. However, current information on spending for marketing and promotion of these products is not available. There are many different forms of tobacco, but there is one in particular that is used more than others.
Cigarettes is probably the most common form, although the use has declined dramatically over the past 50 years. Still more than 42 million Americans smoke, adults smoke, which probably makes it the most popular. So we still like to see that big decline. And a lot of companies are doing big pushes for not using cigarettes, especially in the younger generation. We have, however, seen throughout the years, large cigars have become more popular, with sales increasing 233% between 2000 and 2011. So more awareness on cigar smoking as well.
With the price change going upwards with tobacco, Pennsylvania can hopefully see an even greater decrease in tobacco sales. Eder Health Center at Shippensburg University has a program set up to help students with addiction. Eder encourages students to identify students that may be using tobacco. It's encouraged to help these students avail themselves of using tobacco by calling many different hotlines that help with addiction. Eder has been teamed up with the National Tobacco Cessation Collaborative for a while now. The NTCC has many programs and hotlines to help students quit. Their website, tobaccocessation.org, helps aid tobacco abusers and has links to many different programs with websites. Students with questions are encouraged to contact Eder at 717-477-1458.
Looking for clubs on campus that help raise money for people battling cancer? Colleges Against Cancer may be for you. Hayden Kephart has more.
Students can make a difference with many great clubs around campus. One of these clubs is Colleges Against Cancer. Vice President of the club, Jason Greenspan, plans events and explains what the club does.
Colleges Against Cancer is a club on campus. We raise money for the American Cancer Society through many different fundraisers throughout the year. The main event is the Relay for Life, which we have in April every year. And we try and raise about $50,000 every year for the American Cancer Society.
Although the club is very small in numbers, they tend to bring out tons of students for their big events. Each meeting, Jason plans out and gets ideas in mind for upcoming fundraiser events.
So the Colleges Against Cancer Club, we have many events throughout the year. We have different 5Ks, obviously the Relay for Life, and as well as our Great American Smoke Out, which is in November. The Great American Smoke Out is for lung cancer awareness. So we'll usually have a table in front of the library. Sometimes we'll sell little candy cigarettes, and that's for lung cancer. So.
Jason joined Colleges Against Cancer the minute he came to Shippensburg.
Relay's made a tremendous impact on my life. I've been involved with it for about 4 years now. I actually emailed the president of the club at the time before I even came to SHIP because I was a cancer survivor, and I found out that she was also a cancer survivor, so that was like the connection. And I joined the first day I got here and worked my way up to exec, and now I'm vice president, and next semester I should be president. So.
Raising more awareness is the key to helping fight this terrible disease. Hayden Kephart, SUTV News.
Meets every Monday night at 9:30. Coming up next, we explore the dangers of smoking while pregnant.
Also, we look at potential behavioral risks that may arise when battling addiction.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Welcome back to this special edition of SUTV News. I'm Garrett Graybill.
And I'm Rebecca Pryor. Women who smoke during pregnancy put themselves and their unborn babies at risk for health problems. The dangers of smoking during pregnancy include premature birth, certain birth defects, and infant death. Cigarette use among women who have had live birth did not change much between 2003 and 2006. the smoking prevalence varied between 17 and 18%. Stacy McCall, a program coordinator at Healthy Community Partnership in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, helps HCP come up with new programs for their patients and resources for people struggling with smoking habits. Even though women know the risks of smoking while they're pregnant can hurt the unborn child, this may just be an issue of not being able to stop smoking. Sean Bellamy has more.
Age might have something to do with it also. According to health statistics, the highest percentage of women smokers is 20 to 24 years old.
I think a lot of it has to do with the social structure that people are in at that age, going out, hanging out with friends, that pressure to sort of continue to fit in and be part of a group. And if you have a couple of friends that smoke, it's much easier to become one of the group than to get them to quit.
By race and ethnicity, the highest percentage was among 18% of white females, 14% of African Americans, and 10% of Hispanics.
You know, honestly, I think that economic status plays more into it in a lot of cases than race. Race certainly plays a factor, but economic status seems to be a better predictor of smoking. Economics and education tend to be a bigger predictor of smoking habits.
The percentages has decreased slightly each year since 2010.
Community Partnership offers various resources for people to get help. The Tobacco Resistance Unit is a movement throughout all of Pennsylvania to help youth ages 12 to 18 stay tobacco and nicotine free. It's time that Pennsylvania residents get serious about preventing tobacco use. Tobacco Resistance Unit aims to stop youth tobacco use through education. Lung Force is another resource for women struggling with use of drugs. Lung Force, led by the American Lung Association, help women to stand together against lung cancer and practice good lung health. Finally, LiveHealthyPA.com is designed to help fight to eliminate chronic disease and raise awareness about chronic disease prevention. Come be with individuals, communities, and other organizations to promote healthy lifestyle choices.
A new poll taken by the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance Survey shows 13,000 residents in Pennsylvania are planning to quit. There were 4 categories that people wanting to quit were put into. Percentages of smokers wanting to quit at 35%, smokers who plan to quit in the next 30 days at 15%, smokers who plan to take counseling at 20%, and smokers who plan to use pills to help them quit at 30%. These results were done through phone interviews.
Lung cancer can affect people very close to home, especially if it runs in someone's family.
So I was 18 when I first found out that my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. It was back in 2012. I can never forget it because he called me on the phone. And like when he called me and told me, it was very depressing. I kind of started crying. But basically from what I learned by him going through treatment and being educated about it is that lung cancer is basically mutated cells that affect the body. He was at stage 2, so they caught it pretty early, and he's in treatment currently. He has a bunch of doctor's appointments, at least 2 or 3 doctor's appointments a month. He has radiation that he's taking. He has to get shots for radiation, and he also is taking chemo, which they inject into his arm. And I actually sat with him through that process when he was getting it done. And the chemo makes him extremely weak, and it also changes his appetite. So a lot of times he wasn't eating due to that type of treatment that he was receiving. One obstacle, like I said previously, because his taste buds changed, he wasn't eating. So he had actually became extremely dehydrated. His vitals were really low, and I had to constantly force my dad to go to the hospital or go see a doctor because he was constantly vomiting. This has affected me because, for one, it hits home because it's my father, and then also it has affected me because I can't smoke. Like, seeing him go through what he goes through, I don't want to be in his position later on in life.
Taraya's father is doing well and is still getting to experience his daughter grow up fast. Taraya will graduate in the spring of 2017. When we come back, we will have some different tips for quitting tobacco and dealing with pregnancy, so stick around.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
There are many tips that also can come with future mothers dealing with pregnancy. Smoking is bad to begin with, but it's even worse when it comes to pregnant women. It can cause birth defects and premature birth. Make sure to eat 5 to 6 well-balanced meals each day. Don't drink any alcohol, exercise by taking a pregnancy exercise class, or walk at least 15 to 20 minutes every day at a moderate pace. Get a good amount of sleep, and if you struggle with sleep, take small naps throughout the day. These steps are encouraged to be taken to ensure a healthy pregnancy.
That wraps it up for our special edition of SUTV News. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for live updates. And don't forget to tune in. So Becca, we just talked about a lot of smoking, tobacco, and people getting cancer, pregnancy. Do you have anyone in your life that really was affected by cancer in any way?
I don't. Tobacco use isn't very prevalent in my family. I know a lot of the older generation used to smoke, but my grandma had told me a story that when all of her and her girlfriends were trying their very first cigarette, she was like holding it like this and like being very cutesy, and they like all made fun of her. And so my grandma was like, I'm never doing this again. And then, so yeah, and then from there, no one in my family ever really smoked, and we're very lucky now that we know like science has shown that cancer, it causes cancer.
Wow. My grandmother smoked for 20 years, and she quit.
Quite different story.
Yeah, absolutely. She quit when she was about 45, 50 years old. And
oh, awesome. She was able to quit?
Well, she was, but unfortunately, a couple months ago, she was diagnosed with lung cancer and ended up dying because of the cigarette smoke.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
It's okay. But even after all that time of quitting smoking, smoking still can harm you in so many ways.
I think the moral of the story is that it affects so many people, and that it's an important issue, and we're glad that we were able here to tell it today in this important SUTV News Special Edition.
And that wraps it up for our special edition of SUTV News. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for live updates. And don't forget to tune in every Thursday night at 7 for our weekly broadcast in the See Us.
Hope everyone has a great evening.
Stay safe out there.